Hi everyone, welcome to Faith Friday. I'm Father Sam Kachuba. We've just passed the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary, and as I've talked about the last 2 weeks, the last two videos that I've made, the Rosary is such a great prayer, such a beautiful prayer, and the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary reminds us of just how powerful it is, that Our Lady's intercession really does have the effect of bringing about great good for us. I want to share a little story about praying the Rosary. Number one, you might guess this from some of the other videos where I've talked about this kind of stuff before, but I tend to get distracted in prayer. And distractions in prayer are very real. And I find that when I'm praying the Rosary and I get distracted in prayer, those distractions often actually become the thing that I'm praying about. So as I'm getting distracted by whatever thoughts are going through my head, things that I have to do later on, conversations that I have to have, I find that if I'm praying the Rosary as those thoughts are coming, that I start praying for those situations, for the people who are going to be involved. I start praying for the situation that it is that I have to be part of, the conversation I have, whatever it is. I was praying the Rosary recently, and as I prayed, I was enormously distracted by an imaginary conversation that I was having. And it was one of those times when I knew I had to have a conversation with somebody, but I didn't like that I had to have this conversation, and the way that the conversation was going in my head, you imagine a conversation, you have all the right things to say, and the other person just looks really silly and not very smart. That's how it was going for me. And as I was getting more and more into this conversation that I was having in my head with myself about something that I wanted to be right about, I found that I was getting angry, I was upset, I was agitated. The whole thing was just going completely bonkers. Okay. As I prayed the Rosary, though, the really important things that I needed to have the conversation about started to become more clear. Not only did they start to become more clear, I started to find that I was just less agitated. I wasn't upset anymore. A couple days later, the conversation actually happened. In the meantime, I had prayed the Rosary every day and pretty much repeated that entire conversation in my head. And each time, a little bit less agitated, a little bit less angry. And when it was time to have the actual conversation, all of the stuff that I had wanted to say that first day, I didn't say. And instead, what came out of my mouth and what I talked about was said in a way that I know was way more charitable, way more peaceful, way more kind. Now, that wasn't because of me. That wasn't because I grew in virtue suddenly. That wasn't because I somehow had the ability to know how to speak in a better way. That was because I was receiving grace by the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Those distractions that I had, those distracting thoughts, those other things that I was worried about, Mary took them and she focused them where they needed to be. And she pointed my attention back to Jesus. And that's what Mary does with us every time. She points our attention back to Jesus. So pray the Rosary. Pray the Rosary as we go through this month of October, taking your distractions, your troubles, the things that you struggle with, and offering them to Mary so that she can take them, redirect them, and refocus your attention and mine on the face and the heart of her Son, Jesus Christ. God bless you.